Alright, here we are with our guessing game demonstration again. We've been using it quite a bit to learn different concepts. We're going to look at it again now and take a look at random numbers. This game is not very captivating in the first place, but even less so because the secret number is always 7. Okay? Even a small child would figure out that the answer is always 7 pretty quickly, and they wouldn't be very interested in playing this game for long. Okay. Fortunately, what we can do is Visual Basic does have a function built in that creates random numbers. Unfortunately, what this function does is it creates a random number that is greater than or equal to 0 but less than 1. So if I were to put a breakpoint in here, and you know what, I'm going to take out this text changed event for right now too. Just so we don't have to deal with watching that code run every time we're dealing with our breakpoint here. If I run this now and I guess 7, I am not going to get it right because, let me move. The secret number is 1. Okay. Now, I just told you that this random number function creates a number greater than or equal to 0 and less than 1. Why is it 1? The reason why is it was being cast into this integer variable, so it rounded it up to 1. So as this sits now, the only thing we would ever see is a 1 or possibly a 0. Okay? So let's, just to help us view this here, let's change this to a double. Not going to bother changing the name anywhere. It doesn't matter anyway. Even though it's named an integer, that doesn't matter. It's still going to hold a double now. So let's run this and we'll guess 7 again. We're going to check our guess. And here we are. Now the secret number is 0.70554,751, yada, yada, yada. No, that's going to be kind of a problem because I don't think anybody's ever going to guess that number, right? So that's what the random number function does here, right? So that's not really going to work. Fortunately, what we can do here is we've got another function that's an integer function that we could put this inside of. Now you're going to say, well, how's that help anything? We were putting it into an integer variable before. Now this integer function is not going to do the same thing. It does do something a little bit different. It takes the whole number portion of a number and ignores the decimal portion, so you aren't going to have any rounding happening with this integer function. Okay. Now it's still not a total solution, right? Because while we have whole numbers, it's going to take the whole number portion of this number that is greater than or equal to 0 but less than 1. So it would just be 0 every time, right? So that really doesn't help us either. But what we could do in here is take this times the range that we want, right? So we're going up to 10 here. And now we're creating a random number greater than or equal to 0 but less than 1, taking that times 10, and then taking the whole number portion of that. So that's going to help us out a little bit here. Let me just guess 8 and come over here. The secret number is 7. Okay, so at least we got a whole number in here. Now, one thing that is still a problem though with this is if we take a number greater than or equal to 0 but less than 1 times 10, first off, we're never going to get 10, right? And sometimes we're going to get 0. So if a couple solutions, I guess, to that, I could say guess a number from 0 to 9, or I could change, if I change this to 11, what would show up in there is I would get sometimes anything from 0 up to 10. 10 would show up some if I put an 11 in there, okay? But that's not really very easy to read for a programmer that's maybe looking at what's going on here. So we do have an equation to utilize whenever we're going to try to get a random number in a range. And what it is it's high number minus low number plus 1 times the random number function plus our low number. So for this right here, the high number is 10, Let me get another parenthesis in here. 10 minus the low number in my range, which is 1, plus 1, then times the random number function plus the low number, which in this situation is 1, right? So that would be my equation for calculating or generating a random number between 1 and 10. Now there's no point here, it's high number minus low number plus 1. Since my low number is 1, I've got minus 1 plus 1 here. There's really no point in that being there, so I could actually clean this up a bit by taking that out. That's a good idea to do. Don't make it any more confusing looking than it is, right? And here again, what we've gotten back down to here is, remember me saying I could take that time, times 11? That's essentially what's here. What more comes into play is, let's say I wanted this to be a number between 10 and 20, then it would be 20 minus 10 plus 1 times the random number generator plus 10, right, the low number. So that equation comes more into play when your ranges aren't down between 1 and something. When it is 1 and something, you can kind of get away with just timesing by 1 plus the number at your top of your range, if that makes sense to you. If it doesn't, I just kind of recommend knowing that equation, remembering the equation, and you'll be just fine. So if I run this here and put 8 in there, my secret number is 8. So I was lucky enough to actually get it right. So it's going to give me feedback. I got to step in here one more time that I guessed that I got it right. Okay, so lucky me, right? So if I do it again, I took out my text change event, so that would be kind of confusing to some folks. Secret number 6 this time. So it looks like we got something that's working here. Now, one thing I want to show you though, remember how the secret number was 8 the first time, right? Let's run it again. Put 7 in here, just see what happens. Look at that, the secret number was 8. Well, that's kind of weird. It's kind of a coincidence, right? Let's take a look what happens here. I didn't get it right this time. My guess was too low. Let me remember the second time around before it was 6. Look, it's 6. So 8 the first time, 6 the second time. Is that a coincidence again? No, it isn't. What you'll find here is this random number generator, while it's creating random numbers for this program, it's doing so it'll do so in the same order every time I run the program. And that is why before we have a statement that has the random number generator here, what we need to do is put a randomize function in there. And what this randomize function does is it actually uses the system clock time as a seed number for the random number generator. And see, it didn't come up as 8 the first time that time, and it'll be different every time because the clock time is being used now as a seed number for this random number generator, so it won't use the same sequence every time. Now, there is one more problem with this program that you would notice if we spent some more time with it, and that is that every time